Record. There we go. And share screen 3. Get my PowerPoint going.
I was like, what happened to my screen?
I know, right? There we go. Look at that. See, I think I got it. Can everybody see the PowerPoint? I should say, is there anyone that can't see the PowerPoint? Fantastic. All right. Put this over there. All right, so there's quite a few of us on video. There's a bunch of us that are on audio only, I think. So I just want to respect everybody's time, and I think we'll just get moving. It's being recorded, so you can certainly you'll be able to rewatch. I'm not sure how many people were on the last call, but I had a big mess up on the last call because there was a number of people that volunteered for things and that sort of stepped up and said, hey, we can do that, I can do that. And I thought all of the chat was going to be in the recording, and it wasn't. So I lost all of that. If you reached out and you said that you could help out, whether it be, group leaders or, various other things that we asked about, or if you just want to step up and, and do more, then if you could email me or, reach out through Facebook or, however you want to do that. And let me know again. I'm sorry. This time I will be writing down as we go because, like I said, I've found out that chats are not part of the recording. So, so with that, I'm just going to jump in, and what we're going to go over, we're going to get our new logo revealed today and talk about some leadership. Give you an update on the museum because we are under the museum. We do have a financial report, which is kind of exciting. Talk about some advertisements, do a members update, and then we're gonna talk about the museum curator job, new honoring your veteran, and our first speaker event, as I promised last meeting that we would be having some speaker events, and then we'll hit up on the small groups. So that's going to be a little bit of an open discussion as well for the small groups. Because I want to get your feedback and vision for how that should go. I want to kind of check in with you guys and see what your thoughts are on those small groups. So with that, I'm going to go right into the most exciting part about our thing, our new logo. So Crystal Hudson is on the call right now. I sent her a design idea that was, I'm not a designer. I can barely draw figures, so it was rough. And Crystal came up with the most amazing logo. So it's, we know that the Vietnam War is sort of known as the helicopter war. We included the Vietnam service ribbon, the markings for Agent Orange, and we decided to go with the dates because we're sort of under the museum as a group. And we decide, and that's what really sets us apart from other groups, right? From independent groups. We kind of talked about that in the last meeting. If you didn't get to watch the kickoff meeting, that's on the website. And it was, I think, a really great informational meeting to, talk about where our group is going and, what the vision for the group is. So and how we connect with the museum, which, like I said, is an important part about what, about our group. And so we decided to go with the service dates that coincided with the museum. And so with that, we are going to reveal our new logo. There it is. So you can see that, and this, what's cool about this is if you're a member of the group, if you've sent in your membership, you will get a pin that looks exactly like this. So we're going to talk about the pin quote in a little bit, but this will be our logo. So great job to Crystal. What are your, anybody have any thoughts on that? It looks like everybody's muted, but me, I'm always the one that's talking the most. My family can attest to that.
It looks pretty good.
Thanks, Crystal, great job. So I do like how it incorporates sort of everything, really incorporates that Agent Orange, which, we all know and are familiar with, and, the Vietnam map, the Vietnam service ribbon, and the helicopters. So I think we got it all in. So exciting. So you'll start to see this everywhere. All right. And again, we went with dates that were prior to the Vietnam War started. So, right. So you know that the 55, in that, along with sort of the theme of the museum, is to kind of incorporate even those special agents and everything that showed up before the official start date of the war. So we really wanted to, because, we really wanted to incorporate all of those people that participated in the war, even if it was prior to the actual date of the war. So that'll help you if you're wearing the pin and somebody asks a question, just to be able to answer that. That you do know it's not the official dates, service dates of the war. So with that, I wanted to give everybody an update on the museum itself. So it's coming along really great. There was so many things going on with the museum. We ended up having to hire a new curator and kind of work with a new company, because the company that we had came out and really tried to charge us a lot more for work that they had already promised in the first contract, and literally has just become a legal nightmare on that end. So we did have someone come in and really put together this great proposal for this great price. And so he is working hard at putting together exhibits and really turning, the four walls into a museum. So, I mean, it's exciting to see. We've got, part of the museum is an entire art gallery. And we've been for years, and I say we very lightly because it's basically Jim Messenger, who kind of, Susie's on the call right now, her dad, that really is the heart behind this museum. And he's been collecting art related to the Vietnam War for quite some time, with the vision that there would be an entire art gallery within. So that includes, Vietnam vets who have made art and, again, art completely related. So it's going to be, I've seen some of the art and it's pretty awesome. So yeah, so right now we have a volunteer curator that's been really helping set up some of those case exhibits. And then we've hired on this new gentleman who is really working, about the vision. So, and completing the dioramas. So got a little behind, obviously got behind with COVID and everything, but yeah, so there's no official start date for opening, but it's progressing nicely. And if you're in Texas or planning to visit Texas or anything, let me know, because I can connect you with Jim, and we can set up a time for you to go in. It's the museum itself. The doors aren't open to the public, per se, but we can certainly set up a time for you to go in and, and see it all in person. He really enjoys giving tours of what's complete so far. And so that's kind of a cool thing. I know I've had a couple of vets reach out that they're not really good in crowds and so they've actually asked if they could go in a little early and see everything. And Jim is more than accommodating for that. So he's been taking quite a few people on some guided tours. So reach out to me, let me know, and I can connect you with Jim if that's something that, that you're interested in. So we are going to talk about leadership here. So I've had a couple of people step up to help. For the secretary position on the last call, there was a couple of people that said they'd be willing to do notes. We did have Deborah Crawford. She's not on the call tonight, but she's one of the reasons we're recording, because she's still going to watch and take notes. So we thank her. Susie Messenger has stepped up and said she would definitely help with that. And like I said, there was another that offered. So reach out if it was you. What we have decided was that we're going to have what I'm calling an advisory council, right? Because if you signed up to be a member, then you're going to have voting rights. And those voting rights will, so any of these positions, any of the advisory council is really just until 2022. And to be honest, it's just people that have stepped up and said, hey, I'd like to take on a leadership role, or who have, come to me and really pushed. So, so there's myself. Just quick note about me. I'm a catastrophe modeler. So I study natural disasters for a living. And then I oversee a group of catastrophe modelers in 6 different countries. So I currently live in Connecticut, and in end of July, I'm moving to Minnesota. So I'm also on the board of directors for the museum, and I do all of the Facebook. I manage the website for the museum, and I also do a newsletter that's sent out 4 times a year. So my dad is a Silver Star Vietnam vet, and so I've been, in his honor, been organizing, small and large scale events for the last 15 years for veterans. So that's just a little about me. Crystal, did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure, I can. Hello, everybody. I'm Crystal Hudson. My father is a Vietnam vet. He served with the 128th Assault Helicopter Company that was stationed in Phu Loy. My husband and I live in Lufkin, Texas, so we're only about 2 hours or maybe 3 away from the museum, and we look forward to visiting soon. But it was my pleasure to create the logo, and thank you, Katie, for allowing me to be a part of that, because it was a very special project. It's very close to my heart. So thank you all for participating and joining us, and I'm really looking forward to some of the awesome things that we can do together.
Wonderful. And thank you, Crystal, for stepping up. Thomas Richardson also is on the call. I'm excited to see that. So Thomas is also going to be the 3rd member of the advisory council. So Thomas, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I can do that for a little bit. So I don't have any, full disclosure, I don't have any relatives who did serve in Vietnam, but studying the Vietnam War has been a passion of mine for probably more recent years. I had a great series of history teachers who urged me to study it. And I currently work for the National Personnel Record Center here in St. Louis. And one of the things that I do is I actually do reference work on military records for veterans. So everything from their personnel, their medical files, all that. My main passion though is working on medals and awards. And I do have a concentration on public and oral history. And I've spent a lot of my time actually also contributing to the National Archives' blog called Pieces of History, and their format or their public forum website for crowdsourcing on historical subjects called History Hub. And I've been a subject matter expert on that pretty much since it started about 5 years ago. So if you have, my knowledge of Vietnam is still expanding, but as much as I've learned about it, this was a really interesting opportunity to be a part of. So hopefully we will not only educate people about Vietnam War, but also, bring them in the fold of better understanding.
Thanks. I've been, Thomas, been trying to talk Thomas into doing one of our speaker events too. I think just in the conversations that I've had with him, he's underestimating his vast knowledge. He really has a significant amount of knowledge, and I think will contribute well to the group. So really excited to have him on board. So yeah, so this is what, and one of the reasons that I sort of wanted to, I know we initially talked about having a leadership, in 2022, and that, I was just gonna, but as we get further in, and especially as we're kind of starting to collect money and, get donations and all that, I just kind of didn't want just one person on, in all that. Like, it's always good to have, have a few people so that I'm not just making decisions and, approving things and doing all that just kind of unilaterally. So, so that was why I'm certainly open if there's more people that, that would really like to be a part of that advisory. Again, this is just a advisory council. We will be actually voting for board members, for actual president, vice president, all of that, in 2022. So, and that's one of the reasons that, we want people to, to join, because when you join and you pay your membership fee, then you do have voting rights. So yeah, so anybody that wants to step up at this point and, and be part of that advisory is certainly just reach out to me. At this point, like I said, it's just not, there's no voting or anything. We just kind of see who has something to contribute, and if they want to do that in a leadership position, then I'm not going to say no to anybody. So, so let me know. All right. So with that, we'll run into our financial report. So at this point, I have been able to process and approve 17 paid memberships. We opened the membership up, as you know, a month ago. I know it took me a little bit to get that application all in and done. So so that's kind of exciting that, we've got quite a few members. The other thing that was so exciting for me was I got a message on via Facebook from a gentleman who wanted to donate our startup costs after hearing the first kickoff meeting, and really was as excited as I am about the group and really getting the group off the ground. And so he donated $1,000 to our group. And it was so exciting to just feel that there was somebody else that really, everybody is as passionate as I am. So, so yeah, so that's where we're at with that. So our total income to date is $14.25. I had to wait to order the pins for the logo to be finished. And now that that's finished, actually, I'll be paying for the pins today. I thought about just ordering the 100, but it was actually a significant amount more for just 100 pins than it was for 200. And so I don't see our logo changing or anything about that changing. And so I just thought, well, we're just going to order the 200. And then the certificate holders and the certificate papers. So I have a professional printer here. So I'll be creating the certificates, the membership certificates, putting them into a nice certificate holder, and that along with the pin will be sent out via mail. So there's going to still be some mailing expenses, but I have no idea what those are going to cost at this point. So I did not factor them in, but with the pins and everything, our total expenses are $476. And so that leaves us with $948 in the bank. All of our money is being put into the museum's finances. They have added the Sons and Daughters Group as a line item on their financial report. So our money is in their account, but it is definitely separate for us. So they're managing all of the money at this point. So does anybody have is there any questions or anything on that? It says there's a chat. I can't really see the chat.
Hey, Katie, on the finances, was that done strictly for simplicity or on the museum's part, or is that because we didn't want to have to set up a separate organization with the IRS?
Yeah, well, because we're not incorporated yet, that's why I thought it was probably best to set up once we're incorporated. And we can't incorporate until we've really been existing and, and we have our, our leadership board set up and everything. Once that happens, then we will completely separate our finances from the museum. But yeah, at this point, it was just, I can't go into a bank with just the name and no incorporation and get, and get an account. So the museum said, nope, you can donate. People can donate through us at this point. Paid memberships aren't tax deductible because you're getting something for that, but other donations that people make for the Sons and Daughters groups are because you're making them through the museum. So added benefit of still using, and at this point we're still under the museum, so it just makes sense.
And my father is the treasurer, so he monitors all of that too. He does everything. So
he does. There's nothing that he doesn't do. So is there any other questions about the financing?
Can we get, this is a little bit with the actual logo, can we get a JPEG of the logo to use asking for donations?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I can, if you want to email me, I can send you it via email. Otherwise, I can post it. I can also post it on the website, so you can download it right from the website as well. So I'm going to just write that down. So I will post logo on the website, and I'll post it as a JPEG that you can download. So good. Any other questions? Okay. So with that, and in being fully transparent, I just wanted to show you the quote that I accepted for the pins. I did get a few different quotes, and this company came through and it just gave us 40% off discount. I didn't want, there was a couple of quotes that said, oh, with that logo and with all the colors and all the everything, it has to be a printed one with epoxy over the top. I really didn't love that idea. I really wanted an actual, pin, as you can see here. So this is what our final, we are ordering the 1.5. So the pin that you're looking here is just a little bit smaller than what we're going to order. So we're getting the shiny brass, and there's 5 colors. And so it's got that butterfly clutch on the back, and we're getting 200 of them at $1.96 per pin. So that's really great. The company has been wonderful. As you can see, once we place the order, they're going to give us a digital sample of what it's going to be. But the second part is what I loved the most was they're going to just print one pin and send me a picture of the actual pin. And if there's, changes I want to make at that point, I can still make edits. So that's what I was, I really like, because sometimes, you order these things and they show up and you're like, well, what did I just get? So, so I'm happy that I get that they're being, very transparent in what they're making. And so, yeah, so that is what we're going with for the pins. Like I said, we're ordering 200, and I'm really excited about getting those out, and we'll be able to wear them proudly, which I think will just bring a little more even advertisement to our group. So and they're not.
Can I ask, is it our logo going on the pin? Just as
Yes.
clarification? Okay, thank you.
Yep, it's the logo that I showed.
Okay.
That's why they haven't been ordered, and people have, especially people that have sent in their memberships, haven't received their packet yet, because I wanted to send everything together. So when you get your membership packet, you'll have your certificate and you'll have your PIN. So, and at this point, that's the only way to get the PIN is through a membership. So, any other questions about that? All right. So, and this goes to Becca's question about getting the JPEG. So now that we have the logo, we can really start pushing out the group. So I'm going to work with Crystal. She doesn't know that yet, but on creating a brochure. And like I said, I have a I have a printer. I think it's about as tall as I am. It's a huge, really nice printer. And so I made some brochures for the museum that they're using. And so I'm going to work with Crystal. We're going to create some brochures, and then, you know, I'll send them out even in, you know, in groups of 25. And so if you're willing to, you know, head to your local VFW, or if there's a veterans event that you're going to be at, or, you know, if you just want to hand them out to, you know, friends and family, you know, I think that we'll just, you know, we can flood the world there and get build our membership that way and really be able to reach a lot more people. So as soon as those are available, I'll be sending out, you know, email, and I'll be posting it on the Facebook page, and most likely on the website as well. And you can request those, and I'll get those sent out to you. And that so that'll be that. The other thing is the Facebook group. If you're in our Facebook group, you know, share it on your Facebook page. Let people know that, you know, that we're out there. There's a lot of different you know, groups out there, but I think, you know, we're at least I think Sons and Daughters of Vietnam vets are still on Facebook. My daughter would laugh at me. When I post something on her, she's 22, and she always says, "Mom, I don't use Facebook." And so, but I love my Facebook. I'm never going to get rid of it. So, and I am still looking for someone that is willing to start an Instagram for our group. So if
I'm happy to do that, Katie.
Oh, I love that. There we go. So Crystal's going to start an Instagram for us. Perfect. So yeah, so that we'll send everybody out the link for that too. And if anybody has any other ideas on advertisements, one of the advertisements I can tell you that we've done so far, I couldn't share it the day of because it included our logo, and I didn't want to release the logo before the meeting, but Crystal had a poppy event, and for $50 you could be the sponsor that day. So there was a sign with our logo on it and everything at the poppy event. So I paid for that out of my own pocket just to support that event. And so yeah, so I mean, if you know of these events that are happening around town, or you know, if there's a veterans event happening, you know, we can get you as much information, get you some of those brochures, and, you know, possibly put together a sign or something that, you know, that you'd be able to print out and put out. So let us know, reach out to us, and, you know, we'll just keep sharing the word. Does anybody have any questions on this one? Keep looking over because you guys are all on this screen over here. All right. So, oh, I talked about this on the financial. So I wanted to extend a huge thank you to the donor and who's helping us with our startup costs. So we ordered the pins or certificate paper, and, you know, like I said, there's going to be some mailing costs with that. And, you know, as you see from the financial, I was planning on, you know, taking on costs myself until we built up enough money to really get the group started. So I'm more than appreciative that we really were able to move forward with the group, and, you know, and get things get things moving. And his, his words to me were just, that definitely wanted to help us with our startup costs and really believed in the group. So, so I just wanted to have a special slide to extend a huge thank you for that. So I am going to just quickly go over the membership. If you were on the first meeting, you already have this information, but I know there were a few people that reached out and had some questions about membership. So I just want to go over quickly. We have the 3 membership groups. We have the lineal, which is direct descendants through birth or adoption from a qualifying veteran. Collateral is family members. So, with an aunt, uncle, brother, sister, cousin. And then we just have friends. So that's the annual membership for those without a relative serving. All equally important to the group. And so for the remainder of 2021, that's going to be $25 for all the levels. Once the leadership board is established, then we can talk about fees. And the other more important thing that we're going to talk about once the leadership group is established is a lifetime membership cost. I know a lot of people have been asking about is there a lifetime membership? And so we do want, I think that makes sense. But again, it's, all of our groups, it's not just my group. And so I really don't want to make that decision on my own. And I really would like to wait until you vote in the members, and then we can, determine what that, what that cost will be. For the 2021 membership, the exciting thing is we talked about, you'll get that frameable certificate, the PIN, you'll have access to special speaker events, you'll have voting rights, you'll receive a national membership number. And another cool thing about being a founding member is that we will be adding a plaque that's going to be permanently displayed in the museum, and your name will be on that plaque as a founding member. So, so I really think that's kind of cool too, is just to, have your name permanently displayed in that museum as someone who's, really believed in our group. And so that's where we are with membership at this point. I know there's a few new people on. Is there any questions about the membership? No? Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to just keep moving on. I don't want to keep you guys on too late. So new business. This posting is, you're getting an exclusive look at this, but it's not currently open yet. So I know about it because I'm on the board. And I just wanted to give you a heads up. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I've been leading the efforts on coming up with the job description and the duties, working with the board on that. So the museum will be hiring a full-time curator. And so if you know of somebody that is interested in that kind of a position, it's obviously in Texas. The museum's in Mineral Wells, Texas. So you'll, especially a new museum, it's, I think, kind of an exciting thing for a curator, because really you have, your visions, you'll see your visions come to life. You're not going into an existing museum that already has that. So you're going to be managing the day-to-day operations, developing educational programs, and supervising some staff and volunteers. So if you want me to email you this, just reach out. I can send you the official. It's not in a PowerPoint. There is an official job description. But again, the position's not open yet. But it will be, I believe, by the end of the year. So yeah. So I just wanted to give the group a little heads up on that. So is there any questions on that? Perfect. Okay, we're gonna move on. This is Honor Your Veteran. So where the plaque will be in the museum, there's also going to be a scrapbook. The exciting thing about the scrapbook is we have a couple of veterans. I see Vic is on, my brother. Him and his best friend Rob, who make amazing woodworking things. are creating the scrapbook itself. So out of wood, I believe there's some, wood burning going on there and all kinds of fun, cool stuff that they are creating the sort of, the holder of it. And if you want your veteran's story to be in the museum, you can create a 12 by 12 page. I think, most, I would say 99% is fine. Obviously we don't want, these are things that visitors will be looking through and seeing. So we don't want, graphic pictures and, and also we just want one page per veteran. So, coordinate with your family. I'm not at this point, it's so loose in how we're doing this, but it's just it's going to go into a book that's in an area that is specifically for the sons and daughters of the Vietnam War. So specifically for our group. So, there'll be the plaque and then there's going to be this book. Use your imagination, create it however you want, add pictures, add their service story, add any awards. And what's great is Karen's on the call right now, and Karen Gregory, who lives in Texas, has offered to collect those pages. So once your page is finished, she will collect those pages, and as they come in, she's going to go to the museum itself and add those to the books. So, it's not, there shouldn't be any wait time. She's going to have the scrapbook itself that Vic and Rob are making, and then she's going to have some protective pages, so you don't have to put them in a laminate page or anything. In fact, we actually prefer that you don't, because we're going to put them into a protective sleeve, and she will add them to the book. So kind of a cool way for you to get your veteran's story into the museum.
So Katie, I'm sorry, but that's the wrong PO box.
Oh no.
Sorry if I sent that to you, but let me give you the right one.
Okay.
Okay, it's 251647.
251647. Okay. So I will send out, because I wanted to send out a specific email regarding this. So if you're on the call or if you're listening to the recording of the call, do not send your finished pages to that PO box. I will update, before I post these slides, I'll update that PO box. So is the zip code correct then?
It is.
Okay.
It
Okay,
is. So I hope that I didn't do that to you, but it is 251647. That's the correct PO box.
51647. I will update
Yes.
the slides and I'll make sure that's the email that goes out. And who knows, I probably do that myself. So, so yeah, so I think, we're, a lot of things that we're doing. At first I was like, oh, this scrapbook is just going to be another thing that, that the sons and daughters members are going to be able to do. I was going to limit it to just the members. But then kind of in thinking, it's just something that I think is important to get as many stories out there as possible. We don't want to forget those stories. We don't want stories to be lost. And there's no better way to get, to get these veterans honored than just opening it up to, to anyone who wants to add their story in. Unfortunately, there's just not going to be anybody that's going to validate those stories at this point. We may, depending on what the advisory council or what the board determines, we may add that as a requirement. Right now, we're not. So yeah, so if you want to create a scrapbook page, there you have it. I think it's kind of fun to, to think about. So what are your thoughts on all that? Good?
Hey, Katie, there's one question that popped up in the chat. Is there any way that this was going to be made digital? These images were going to be available online somewhere that people could look at it remotely?
That's an interesting thought. I don't see why it couldn't be. We certainly could, could add that. I don't, I think we'd have to be very transparent with, with people that are submitting the scrapbook pages that we'd be doing that. Sometimes when you think it's just going to be in a museum and then all of a sudden you see a service story pop up online, there might be some questions about that. So maybe when people are sending in their scrapbook pages, maybe that's just something that we need them. Yeah. I think maybe we might have to include like a cover page that people fill out about their veteran, and maybe that's a question that we ask them. Are you okay with this being digital?
I was going to suggest some type of consent form.
Yeah.
This scrapbook will ultimately be viewed online, and then some tech savvy person is going to have to know which pages to block and which pages are okay to release.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So yeah, so okay, so that's when I'm sending out the information and when I post this on the website, I'll include a consent form. I'll work with with Thomas and Crystal on that, and we'll get a good consent form filled out. And then yeah, if you don't want it digital, then we'll make sure that we respect those wishes, and we'll include maybe a little marking on the.
I have in-house attorney also, if anybody wants to kind of do something up and then run it by to see if, it would, ideally what we want to do is protect the veteran and the museum from falsely letting somebody's information out.
Correct.
So I'm willing to run it by and see if there's any snafus in it or anything.
Awesome. I just wrote your name down. You're in. Thank you. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. So yeah, any other comments on this one?
This is the last comment. When it comes to things like verification that you were mentioning earlier, it's things like that are possible. They're just very labor intensive. And that also really relies on having the vet service record easily available. And as of right now, that can't really be done because of the NPRC's operating status. So really, in the beginning, you're just gonna have to take people's word for it. But later on, if people want to have things verified, or if we want to verify certain things, we can. But I would normally just reserve that for really high-profile items. Like if someone came in saying they got the Medal of Honor or DSC, then obviously we want to verify that. But if it's someone says that I was a driver mechanic and at the Da Nang Air Base for 14 months, and they were just there and left, and that's all they did, then we can judge it on a historical case by case basis. But obviously, things that require a little more effort are going to require submission of evidence on the person's behalf, because we as a private organization can only get certain things from government institutions unless there is authorization from veterans or veterans next of kin. So if I really wanted to, I could get a Vietnam veterans full copy personnel record. I just had to have that veteran's permission to do it, and the vet has to say release everything to Thomas or release everything to this museum or this organization. I authorize that release. It's pretty standard issue, but also things like that are not being. They're also pretty low priority. So typically stuff like that will take months. Don't expect it to get done in 5 to 6 weeks. Expect 5 to 6 months.
Yeah. So I think I agree with your initial statement that yeah, we should just take people's word at this point, aside from the medal, the high medal. So yeah, because we don't have time to do all that anyways, and so does anybody else have any thoughts on that one? No, okay. Then I will move on, and like I said, I'll get that slide updated and I'll get the correct address. You'll all, as long as I have your email, you'll all receive an email specifically about the scrapbook. So yeah, so be looking for that once we get the with Becca, once we get with her and get that form finished for the consent. So then I will send everything out. Moving on, hopefully you've all, I've tried to flood Facebook and send emails and everything. Hopefully you've all seen our upcoming speaker, Jack McCabe. So this is really exciting. This was Crystal. This is a friend of hers that wrote this book. I had actually never heard of the book. And I immediately ordered the book. And then my poor siblings who are also on the call, not only did I order the book, but then I ordered one copy for each of them and without even their permission, just sent it to them. So they all received a copy. And I sent one to my dad as well, who isn't typically known for reading. And I had called my mom after he received it. And I said, oh, did Dad get the book I sent? And she's like, he hasn't put it down. She says he hasn't been watching any Netflix or anything. He's just been sitting in his chair reading the book. So I thought that was kind of cool. And what a great kickoff for our speaker series that we've talked about. So if you haven't read the book, you can get it on Amazon. I know that I saw that you could order it through Barnes and Noble. I didn't see any, at least in Connecticut here, there were no stores that were actually carrying it, but you know how Barnes and Noble is. You can just order and go and pick it up from them. But why would we do that when Amazon will just bring it to my door? So yeah, so it really shares what's cool about this book is every single chapter is another story. So it's kind of a simple read in the sense of there are chapters that are literally just 1 page long. And then there's chapters that are, 5 or 6 pages long, but yeah, so he's going to come on, he's going to talk about his own experiences and he's going to talk about the interview process. He asked that instead of it just being him coming on and presenting, that it be more of like a live Q&A. And so Crystal's going to be leading that Q&A. So that's kind of cool. I will be on the call. I will be on the road, physically on the road, moving from Connecticut to Minnesota when this is happening. So, but I'll still be on the call and still be listening. Thank you, Internet. And I'm really excited about it. And it just brings up more that, if you have somebody in mind that, you'd like to bring on for a speaker, we have, a wide range. I mean, if there's an author that you want, if there's, somebody, Crystal's got a few ideas for, for some series coming up that she's gonna lead. Her and I talked. Do you remember specifically what some of the ideas were we had, Crystal? She works with a lot of veterans in various different aspects. I kind of shot around a couple of ideas.
We did discuss a couple of ideas. Forgive me, I was setting up our Instagram account. I just put the link to our Instagram in the chat. So if you will open up the chat, then the link is there. Yeah, it doesn't take but a second. So I got that done and I'll send you an email about that later, Katie and Thomas. But some of the ideas that we had were about maybe a social worker from the VA who could help us in assisting our parents in applying for disability benefits. And then also some others who could help us understand how PTSD maybe can affect our lives through our parents at end of life. But if there's another subject that somebody specifically is interested in, if there's something that you want to hear, something that you need to know, let Katie know. And I know she'll be happy to send that along to me and we will find someone to meet that need, because that's what this group is about. It's about sharing and learning the perspectives of others and the struggles of others, and seeing how we can come together as a group to meet those needs for us personally, and then for our brothers and sisters in this group as well. So I'm happy to do, whatever we need to.
That's great. Thank you, Crystal. Anybody have any comments or anything to share with that? So I think we have some great speaker events, and we'll be able to get a good amount of information out there. And like we talked about in the kickoff meeting, that's one of the important things that we want to do is really have that education component with this group. So if you have any ideas, if there's anything that, that even if you don't have a speaker, if you have an idea, we can help track down somebody that could come in and do that. So, it's not my group, it's our group. So we want to really make sure that we're giving you what you want for the group. So.
I was just going to make one comment about the interview with Jack. I would encourage you, Jack's book is like $16 on Amazon. Grab a copy and just read, even if you just read the first 2 chapters, and join us for the chat, because I can say personally, his book had the most profound effect on me as a daughter when it came to understanding my father, understanding how I was raised and why, understanding why he does some of the things that he does. And as Katie and I both read through the chapters, we were discussing with each other how we would see these behaviors that other veterans had, and we say, oh, my dad does that. Oh, my dad says that. Oh, yeah, he kind of acts like that. And it helped us to understand that it's not one individual maybe being difficult or being quirky or being hard-headed. This is a pattern of behavior that we see in lots of vets. And Jack's book, it really, really helped me. And as it helped me, it helped to draw my father and I together. Don't get me wrong, I had a great childhood. I would never want someone to think that my dad was the villain, but he does suffer from PTSD. He did do things that I didn't understand. Not even my mother understood. And Jack's book helped us tremendously. So I tell anybody who will listen, who has a connection to Vietnam, about Jack's book, and encourage them to grab it. I bought, I don't know how many copies of it, and given them away to other people to read. But I encourage you, grab the book and then join us for the chat, and be ready to ask him some questions. He's very, very open. And quite by accident, I learned that Jack actually, he didn't know my father's name, but there was a very specific incident where he knew that the person who was there at that moment was my dad. And Jack and I, or my dad, we didn't know it until just a year or so ago. And Jack is he's very professional, but at the same time, he will give you, a straight answer. If there's anything that you need to know, we're all kind of victims of the don't talk about it era and the don't talk about it mentality. And if there's something that anybody wants to know, not that Jack is an expert by any means, but he did go to a lot of trouble to interview a lot of people, and he is a very smart gentleman. And I think that he is, he can be a lot of help to a lot of folks if you need that.
Thanks, Crystal. Yeah, exactly. The book is just, I don't know if there has anybody on the call been able to grab the book and read it yet, knowing the speaker series is coming up. It really, Crystal's exactly on about all the experiences and how we personally have seen those behaviors. So yeah, so pick up the book, give it a read, and the other part of this is it is a live Q&A too. So if you have some questions, even if you don't personally want to ask them, shoot me an email and I'll forward that to Crystal, who's going to be running the Q&A. So if you read the book and you have a specific question or two, or that you want us to ask, we'll ask it on your behalf. Send it on over. But yeah, consider, and share the event. You can go into the event page on Facebook and you can share it. We'll be setting up and sending out a separate email with the Zoom, and this is via Zoom. Crystal, is that correct, or what platform? Zoom. So we'll get that information and get that link set up ASAP and get that out to you, so you can really share that as well with people that might not be on Facebook, or you know, if you have some, you know, some organizations that you're a part of that are veterans organizations, go ahead and share that. This first event is free and is open to all. We will have some specific events that are just for our members, as we talked about, but yeah, this one is free and open to everyone. So
What's the date on that?
Oh, I didn't even put the date on there. That is July 22nd, is it? Yeah,
I was going to say the 21st, so we're in the ballpark. Yes.
it's the 21st. No, okay, yeah, no, I have.
Don't quote me.
I was like, wait a minute. No, it's the 22nd. It's July 22nd, and that's at same time as 6:30 Central. So, so yeah, so kind of exciting to move forward with, you know, another one of the promises that we made for the group. So, all right, I will continue to move along. I probably could have put the date and time on this slide, but all right, museum newsletter help. This goes out to a lot of people. We actually do have a section in the museum newsletter that gives updates on the Sons and Daughter group. So that's why I'm reaching out. There is, you know, there's a page in here that gives a museum update. There's a page in here that has a brick, an order form for a brick. If you wanted to order a brick through the museum, you can get a brick inscribed with any name, your veteran's name on it, and it will be part of a various walls that are being set up, and I believe some walking paths as well. And so, but then there's also articles, like you know, you want to include some kind of, you know, open topic articles. They've always been, you know, obviously they need to be related to the Vietnam War. But if you're a writer, you know, and you're interested in contributing to the newsletter, then shoot me an email. It's, like I said, it's sent out, I put 3 times a year here. I think it's actually 4 times a year. Susie, do you know, is it 3 times or 4 times?
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been doing it now for a couple of years and I don't even know. Jim will send me an email and say, Katie, are you gonna have that newsletter done? Oh yeah, of course, I'm working on it. And yeah, and so so that's what we get, but it's a great newsletter. And
I do believe it's quarterly. I think it's quarterly.
I think it is too, yeah. And so I can, if you're interested in the newsletter as well, like I said, because I do it, I have it in PDF form, so I can send it to anybody that wants to read the newsletter. I'm going to add, Jim will probably kill me, so it's a good thing he's not on the call right now. But there is as you've heard me talk about, this brick order form, where you can order a brick with it's inscribed. It's $150. It's inscribed, you know, with name, service unit, everything. And there's a little birdie that's told me that those bricks are going to be ending. That is not like an open, at this point, they have something like 9,000 bricks, you know, ordered. So at the rate that the company is able to create these bricks, and then, you know, they arrive at the museum and then they're made into a wall or, you know, a walking path or something, we just can't continue. They can't continue. It's not going to be like an open thing that you'll always be able to get a brick. So if that's something that you're interested in, you know, shoot me an email and I will send you the form, and you can get your brick order in before they close out brick orders. Great idea for a Father's Day gift, you know. So we did it for, I believe, for my father's birthday. We all went in on a brick. So, and those will be at the museum. So yeah, so I can send that to you, but we're not, because they're so behind on, you know, I mean, 9,000 bricks. So,
I believe that you can order, that the order form is also on the museum website, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
And someone just asked, is it one brick per veteran? No, it's, you can buy as many bricks as you want, and they can say whatever you.
so there, yeah. So there's the, wonder, I don't know if I can. Oh, yep, I was just seeing, I had attached, you see my little PowerPoint I attached down there that I can't click on because I'm in newsletter view, but yeah. So I'll send forward the newsletter if you want the newsletter, and the brick order forms in the newsletter. So, and it tells you how many, you know, how many exact spaces you can use, and there are 150 right now for that. But yeah, keep in mind that is definitely not going to be offered forever. I think he's getting pretty, he said something like 2 years or 30 months or something. That's like, I think they're looking at hiring a second company to help print the bricks. But right now, at the rate of the brick orders coming in and how many this poor company can create, like they were something like 30 months out for completion on current brick orders. So yeah, so that's where we're at. So, okay. So old business, we will just jump into this. This is the small group. So this is our last slide. And I just wanted to, we talked about having small groups at the last meeting. There was some, you know, feedback about whether or not, I think people, you know, some of the feedback that I got was people are pretty comfortable at this point with, you know, just doing an every other meeting until we get our, you know, get our membership up. To be honest, the great thing about this meeting is it sort of seems like a, you know, a small group in itself. I think, you know, we're able to do some feedback. And so, you know, at this point, I'm not sure, you know, we can definitely offer up some, you know, some other meetings in our off month, maybe if people want to just chat with each other. But, you know, this kind of every other month gives us the opportunity to, you know, to talk amongst ourselves as well. And so maybe the thought was maybe we put the small groups on hold for a little bit and just continue with the meetings and some open discussions during the meetings. And then once membership grows larger, I mean, obviously if we had 50 people on, you know, on this call tonight, we certainly could not have the discussion that we can have when we have just, you know, 15 or 20 people. So that's why we haven't really heard any more about the small group. This slide was the exact slide that I showed in the kickoff meeting. So you can kind of see what the idea was for the small groups. But at this point, you know, it's kind of thought that we really don't need to have yet another kind of spin-off group. So what do you guys think about that? I just want to get your, you know, your feedback. Does that sound like it makes a little sense? Yeah. I think people appreciate just the every other month. And we're all busy, right? Especially now that the world's opening back up. I'm certainly too busy. So yeah, so okay. So it looks like we're kind of getting some thumbs up. So I think for right now, we're going to put the whole small group thing on hold, but I just want to be transparent about that because we had discussed it. And we'll just continue with the every other month meeting, and, you know, and you saw the leadership, right? So Thomas is on there, Crystal's on there, and I will get their permission to share their emails as well. But, you know, you can reach out, you know, it doesn't have to be just me. You can reach out to Thomas, you can reach out to Crystal. If you have any questions or any suggestions or anything. I think when I send emails out from now on, you'll see both of them copied on it. So when you reply, it'll be replying to, you know, to the three of us, and then anyone else that, you know, that steps up for leadership at this point. So with that, that's it. Oh, I'm 6 minutes over, which doesn't surprise me because I talk a lot. So why don't you guys all unmute for a minute? Let me know what your thoughts are. Are we hitting everything that we kind of promised in the kickoff? Or is there anything you've got some thoughts on? Nothing. Nobody.
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
At least I haven't put you all to sleep. Everybody's eyes are still open, so that's good.
It does feel good to kind of be on the ground level of this. It's been a long needed thing in our world, and it just kind of feels nice to I don't have the advantage of having my father still around, so it's kind of nice to do something like this in his honor, something for him that I've never been able to do. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate the openness and the willingness to listen and take people in.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad to hear that. That's what I've been trying to do, is make sure that nobody has the impression that it's my group that I'm starting. I just trying to tick us off and make sure the group is what everybody wants it to be. So
I think it's wonderful, and I appreciate all of your time and effort, Katie. Thank you so much for whipping us into shape. And my goal for the group is just for it to be a safe place. If someone has a question about something regarding their mother or father's service, this is the place. We will try our best to help. And it's a safe space where we can talk about our perspectives and our experience. And we may not agree with each other, but we still respect each other's perspective, because we've all had different lives that have been touched by our parent service in a different way. So I look forward to that, and I appreciate that.
yeah, thanks, Crystal.
And Karen, there was a question on the book. Does the page have to be white, or can it be colored?
It can be anything you want it to be. Just the only requirement is 12 by 12. So, which, as a person who mails a lot, I will tell you it can cost you a little extra to mail a 12 by 12 page, but I still think 8.5 by 11 would have just been too small to try and make a scrapbook page. So yeah, the only thing is size 12 by 12. And you can make it on color, you can make it on white, whatever you want to do. So, were there any, honestly, it must be because I'm screen sharing, but I can't see the chat. Were there any other questions in the chat that I needed to address? No? Okay, good. All right, well, with that, I'm only 10 minutes over my time, so I will bid you adieu. So, thank you for coming. And
Thank you.
This was recorded, so we'll post it, and I'll post it on the website in the next few days, and send the link via the Facebook group as well. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.